Welcome to the thrilling world of samurai games. If you're a fan of the epic battles and timeless culture of Japan's legendary samurai warriors, then you're in for a treat. Well, you're in luck, because today we're counting down the top 10 best samurai games you need to play. Yakuza Ishin comes in at number 10 on our list. Ishin, however, is a legendary samurai game, so maybe mentioning it here will encourage Ryuga Gotoku Studio to convert more classic samurai games to contemporary platforms in the future. After all, they have already shown interest. Ishin uses actual Japanese mythology and stories as a base for his video game, copying the character designs and actors from the Yakuza series. Ishin, which follows Sakamoto Ryoma, briefly mentions the Shinseng Yumi, a historical police force. When one of Ryoma's allies was killed by a potential Shinseng Yumi member, Ryoma set out to join the organization in an effort to find the murderer once and for all. Way of the Samurai 4 comes in at number 9 on our list. Samurai life would undoubtedly be difficult, but the Way of the Samurai series gives your time as a nomadic warrior some thrill, mystery, and most importantly, choice. The many groups you associate with, or who you choose to murder and spare, will eventually determine your destiny. It's not simply about taking out the bandits and rogues on your path. You play an anonymous ronin in Way of the Samurai 4 who is traveling to Amihama during the 19th century. 3 groups have now developed as a result of the British spreading their culture to Japan and transforming Amihama into a Little Britain. You'll show that you can make a difference in the struggle for control among the 3 through your choices. We have Getsu Fuuma Undying Moon on position 8. The first Getsu Fuuma game from Konami debuted in 1987, making it one of the series with the longest history still in existence. 35 years is undoubtedly a long time to wait for a sequel, but Konami is presently working on one with Getsu Fuuma Undying Moon, which is now in early access and will be released this year on PC and Switch courtesy to Guru Guru. You play as a distant descendant of the original game, the hack-and-slash game Undying Moon. You've entered hell as the Getsu clan's commander in order to discover why the wall separating the living from the dead has deteriorated and to search for your lost brother. There is already a ton of complexity in this game, and it will only grow better with each subsequent release. There are new martial arts maneuvers to master and weapons to manufacture. For Honor comes in at number 7 on our list. For Honor isn't the most authentic samurai game ever created, technically. For Honor is a multiplayer game where you can choose which historical combatant would absolutely destroy your favorite in a fight. At first, the game featured samurai, Vikings, and knights, but later updates added woodland fighters and knights who were Roman gladiators and centurions. Do not, under any circumstances, attempt to convince us that the very first time you play For Honor, you did not immediately join the samurai faction. If you want to be a dishonest shinobi, you may choose between the enormous Shugoki men and the samurai group, which encompasses every facet of the Japanese fighter's repertoire. If you want to be a samurai, however, you have no option but to be a giant Shugoki man. Simply because you could poke people with a long stick from a considerable distance, the nobushi was our weapon of choice over the years. Unending happiness. Kenshi comes in at number 6 on our list. One of the most telling characteristics of a true samurai is the ability to keep one's composure in the face of adversity. Because the world of Kenshi is nothing but hardship and conflict, you have to maintain an unwavering composure, utterly unaffected by everything that life may throw at you. If you don't have the courage to stand up for yourself in Kenshi, the world will eat you alive and then spit you out, which makes the trip a highly rewarding one overall. Despite the fact that the game takes place in a post-apocalyptic world and offers a wide variety of possible life paths, one viable option is to play as a nomadic warrior who wields a katana to mete out justice. This is despite the fact that the game is not strictly a samurai-themed one. In a genuine sandbox game, the outcome of Kenshi's story is determined by the choices you make along the road. Whom you choose to partner with or kill, for example, may have a direct impact on which towns and organizations thrive and which perish. Kessen comes in at number 5 on our list. Kessen, which in Japanese means decisive battle, and is more proof of how much Koei adores seeing massive armies clash with one another, is the name of the game. The first iteration of Kessen was a representation of feudal Japan that was historically accurate, but with a touch of romanticism. Some of the other games in the series may have opted to include a greater number of magical elements or perhaps completely omitted the samurai in favor of more content pertaining to the romance of the 3 kingdoms. In spite of the fact that it has been around for almost 20 years, there is no question that it is without a doubt one of the best samurai games that has ever been developed. Kessen is a Japanese historical drama that takes place during the end of the Warring States period in the country's history. It focuses on the battle that arises between the Eastern Tokugawa clan and the Western Toyotomi clan. Ieyasu Tokugawa, ruler of the East, is the game's protagonist. Players have complete freedom to manage Ieyasu Tokugawa throughout the campaign, piling up triumphs and losses all the way up to the culminating battle, at which point Ishida Mitsunari, ruler of the West, takes over. After then, players have the opportunity to choose their captain, and as they go through the many scenarios, build their own personal history of the conflict. The video game Samurai Jack: Battle Through Time comes in at number 4. The most recent Samurai Jack video game, titled Battle Through Time, lives up to the high expectations set by the anime series. It also illustrates that licensed samurai games may be just as amazing as traditional samurai games. Fans of the series centered on Jack's escapades in the nightmarish future have been waiting for ages for a game to authentically mimic the action of the series, and Soleil's character ActionGame has succeeded where others have failed. Battle Through Time is a condensed version of a number of Samurai Jack's most popular episodes, as the name may imply. During a crucial encounter between Jack and the demon Aku, the adversary casts Jack into an endless pit that is replete with recreations of the most important battles in Jack's past. It is in some ways a retelling, but it also includes new components, which helps to prevent things from becoming stale. This is a game that cannot be missed by lovers of the series. Samurai Shodown comes in at number 3 on our list. Despite the fact that the game is called Samurai Shodown, there are almost certainly a great number of characters in the series who are not, in any meaningful sense, samurai. The classic fighting game series created by SNK has a cast of colorful adversaries, including as pirates, knights, bandits, noblewomen, and assassins, but the samurai are the ones that steal the show every time. Samurai Shodown's depiction of the samurai, which effectively portrays the perilous position that every battle rests on, is one of the game's many strengths. The gameplay of Samurai Shodown is oriented on dealing massive damage and punishing missed blows, but games like Soul Calibur provide players the ability to perform spectacular combinations. Every fight is nerve-wracking and exciting due to the fact that the slightest misstep might result in instant death after only a few blows have been landed. Samurai Warriors 5 comes in at number 2 on our list. Koei did so much research on ancient warriors fighting to the death in 7 different colors that he could almost write a book on the subject. Even though Dynasty Warriors may be the more well-known, or at the very least more identifiable game of Koei's One Was All paradigm, Samurai Warriors 5 makes a good claim for being one of Koei's greatest Muser games. This is despite the fact that Samurai Warriors 5 makes a strong argument for being one of Koei's finest Muser games. To answer your question, yes, even Persona 5 Striker is a part of it. Samurai Warriors 5, which is a type of reworking of the game, has a brand new paint job that more closely mimics a Japanese painting. This provides the battlefield with some much-needed brightness, as it invariably devolves into hundreds of guys being smacked about the area. Samurai Warriors 5 is without a doubt one of the best samurai games now available. It has a cast of characters that has been overhauled, as well as gameplay that is consistently enjoyable. The Ghost of Tsushima comes up at number 1 on our list. We will concede that there is a fine line between success and failure in Ghost of Tsushima. There is no denying that Jin Sakai straddles the boundary between samurai and ninja, shifting from one to the other as the story of the game progresses. This is a fact that cannot be refuted. Despite that, this is without a doubt one of the most epic samurai adventures ever shown in a video game. Exploring the beautiful island of Tsushima is a delightful experience in its own right, even though the excellent swordplay in the game is the highlight of the package. After the Mongol invasion of Tsushima, Jin Sakai, the only surviving member of the Sakai clan and one of the few remaining samurai, is forced to make an unthinkable decision. He must decide whether or not to abandon the samurai code of honor in favor of a riskier, less honorable manner of fighting. This level of intensity will put an end to the age-old customs, but other than that, what do you stand to lose when you pursue victory at any cost? The response to that question will tell us whether or not Ghost of Tsushima is the best samurai game that can be purchased. And there you have it, the top 10 best samurai games you need to play. We hope this list has given you some inspiration for your next gaming adventure and introduced you to some new titles you may not have heard of before.